Hey guys, sorry I took a bit of a break. I had my final exams for college last week, so it was quite hard to watch all the games and get a decent analysis and recap in a video. So unfortunately the quality just wasn't good enough for me and I stopped making them, but I'm sure you guys can understand. Anyways, I'm back now and I'll be here for the playoffs. So in this video, I'll run through all my predictions for the playoffs and how I see it playing out. But first, I think it'll be fun to go back and see how I did on my group stage predictions. As you can see on your screen, there is a table which summarises all my personal predictions and all the results from each group. And the teams in green were the teams that made it to the upper bracket, the teams in yellow were the teams that made it to the lower bracket, and the teams in red were either disqualified or were eliminated from their group. As you can see, in Group A, I was fairly inconsistent. I definitely put Cloud9 and CAG very high up, whereas Team Empire I put very low. But the sort of middle to low of that group I got fairly right with G2, Dark Zero, and Team 1. Furia I definitely underestimated as well, but not to the extent of Empire. For Group B, I was fairly consistent. I got most of the teams in about the right area, except Giants, which I definitely overestimated as they were the ones that got disqualified, and I had them coming in at 4th. It was quite nice to see a lot of these teams doing well, but most of these teams were very close to each other, with most of the placings being decided on head-to-head matches. So let's just get straight into the predictions that you came here for. So on your screen you can see the bracket for the upper and the lower of the playoffs. What will happen is each team will play against their team in their bracket. The teams from the upper bracket, if they win, they'll advance to the semi-finals, and if they lose, they'll be put down into the lower brackets. If any team in the lower bracket loses, they will be eliminated straight away. How it will work is the team that ends up winning the lower bracket will then go against the team that wins the entire of the upper bracket. In a best of 5 series, however, the team that went through the upper bracket will have a 1-map advantage, so only 4 maps will be played. Starting off in the upper bracket, we have Team Empire vs Oxygen, and I think this is probably the hardest game to predict, but I'm going to say that Oxygen win. I think this will be a close game, but I think that even though Empire look good, Oxygen will definitely have prepared for Team Empire, and I think that Oxygen with a lot of preparation will look scarier than Team Empire with a lot of preparation, so I want to say Oxygen win. However, this is probably my least confident of all of my predictions in this video. The next game was Team Liquid vs Mibr, and I've just got Team Liquid to win. They beat Mibr in the finals of the Copa Elite 6, and all around they just looked better throughout the group stages, so I don't think that one should be too out there, but I think Liquid do win that game. The next game we have BDS vs NIP, and NIP are the runners-up for the last 6 Invitational, but I think BDS win this one. I think it will be a close game. You've got some very good fraggers on both teams, but I think BDS are just a more well-rounded team, and they're much more consistent than NIP, so I've got them to win the game. The final game for the upper bracket quarterfinals is FaZe Clan vs TSM, and I just have TSM to win. I mean, they won their group, they just came to the top, and FaZe looked a little bit lackluster in their group, and they obviously did very good to make the upper bracket, but up against someone like TSM, I don't think sort of average makes it. So I've got TSM to win that game, and I think that'll be quite a comfortable game as well. In the lower bracket round 1, the first game is Team 1 vs Space Station, the reigning world champions. And do I think Space Station make it out? No. To be quite honest, Team 1 definitely surprised me, as you can see in my predictions. And I think they're looking very strong, and Space Station have looked good, especially in their first game against TSM. I thought they looked incredible, but I just don't think it's enough, and I think Team 1 are just a better team, and I think they'll come into this with a bit of fire, and I don't think Space Station will make it very far. The next game is G2 vs Parabellum, and although Parabellum looked very good and they surprised a lot of people's expectations, I'm going to give it to G2, and it's probably because I'm a bit of a G2 fanboy, I'm not going to lie. On paper, G2 should win this game. They've got the experience, they've got the players. This should just be an easy 2-0, but Parabellum have looked good, and they do have a lot of upset potential, so if Parabellum win it, I won't be too unhappy about it, but I want G2 to win, so I've put them to win. The next game is Dark Zero vs Furia, and I've put Dark Zero to win. Again, I think this will be a close game, but if you look in Group A, Dark Zero did come above Furia, so it would make sense for them to win. And I think with preparation, Dark Zero are very scary, and possibly more scary than Furia are, so Dark Zero win this game. And then the final game in the loser bracket round 1 is Cloud9 vs MKers, and I have MKers to win, which is not something I thought I'd be saying. If we were before the group stage happened. But MKers have looked very good, and Cloud9 just haven't. Cloud9 narrowly made it into the lower bracket and almost got eliminated, so they're quite lucky to be in this game. And MKers, on the other hand, came 5th in their group, so almost made it to the upper bracket, which is quite impressive. So I think MKers do win this game. I wouldn't say it's too convincingly, but I don't think it goes to 3 maps. Moving on to the lower bracket round 2, we now have Team Empire versus Team 1. Two sort of dark horses in this tournament. They did a lot better than I expected, and quite a few people. But I think Team Empire are the clear winners in this game. They're looking very similar to their 2019 selves, when they still had Karjeka on the roster. And obviously they made it to the grand finals of the 2019 Six Invitational, being runners up to Prime G2. So if they do sort of have that performance, they definitely win this game. And I think that Team Empire are definitely more likely to win this game than Team 1, so I've got them moving forwards. The next game is Mibr versus G2 Esports, and regardless who wins the G2 Parabellum game, I still think Mibr win this game. G2 have looked fairly shaky in their EUL season that's just gone, and also in the group stages, so I think Mibr win this game fairly comfortably. Obviously coming down from the upper bracket, they should technically do better than G2, and I think they are a better team currently. So Mibr move on. The next game we have Ninjas in Pyjamas versus Dark Zero. And similar to the last game, regardless who won in the lower bracket round 1 between Dark Zero and Furia, I still think Ninjas win this game, and fairly convincingly too. They looked quite good in their group stages. Dark Zero and Furia looked okay, but I think Ninjas just are the clear winners of this game, so yeah, they advanced to round 3. And then in the last game in this lower bracket round 2, we have FaZe Clan versus MKers. Obviously, on paper, FaZe Clan should win this. Should be quite easy blowout. They are quite an old roster with the old Mibr roster plus Astro, but MKers are here to break predictions. They are here to make big plays. They're here to try and knock out as many big teams and be that dark horse. But I still think FaZe win this, and I know I'm gonna get commented about and said, "Oh my god, you didn't put MKers to win." I know. But FaZe should win this. Come on, don't even lie to me. Before this game starts, obviously I'm recording this the day before the playoffs actually begin. FaZe should win this. There should be no dispute about this. FaZe should just win this. And I know I'm going to regret saying that, but they should win. FaZe win. MKers lose. They're gone. Happy days. Going back to our upper bracket, we now have the semi-finals. And with my predictions, that would be Oxygen versus Team Liquid. And I think this is where it gets quite scary, because Oxygen, if they can beat Team Empire, will look very good, and they will probably come into this game with a lot of momentum, and will be looking to make it to the upper bracket finals. But I think that Team Liquid will be able to beat a Prime Oxygen, and even if Team Empire make it here, I think Team Liquid still get to the upper bracket finals. Team Liquid are my favourites coming into this tournament, and I think they were most people's favourites. And I still think they're looking pretty good, coming top of their group. So I think Team Liquid take this map, but it would probably go to 3 maps. The next game in the upper bracket, we have BDS versus TSM, and again, another close game. They've both looked very good into their groups. They looked good before the tournament, and they've got a somewhat similar play style. Who do I think wins it? I genuinely don't know. It's a bit of a coin flip, but I'm going to go with TSM just due to consistency, and I don't know. I think it makes more sense for TSM to win this game, but obviously if we get a Prime Shaiko from BDS and Bolo's just not pulling out on TSM, it could go the other way. But again, it just depends who's playing, and obviously there are 4 other players on each of those teams respectively, so it depends how everyone plays on the day, but that's what we're here for. So I still think TSM takes it, but it will be a close game, and they will advance to the upper bracket finals. That takes us on to the lower bracket round 3, where we have Empire versus Mibr, and I think Empire win this game quite comfortably as well. Like I say, Mibr have looked quite good, but I think Empire are probably looking to make very deep into this lower bracket, and if they don't lose Oxygen, probably quite far into the upper bracket as well. So I think Empire should win this game. It's a pretty no-brainer for me. The next game in the round 3 of the lower bracket will be NIP versus FaZe, according to my predictions. And again, 2 teams from the same region. Who do I think will win it? Probably FaZe. They've looked far more consistent than NIP have. And I think that on paper they're probably a better squad as well, but that's probably up for debate, as I used to be an old Team Liquid fan as well, so I'm probably a bit biased there, but I think FaZe win this game, although I think it will be close. That takes us on to the lower bracket round 4, where we have Oxygen versus Empire. These teams have both looked quite good, and this is another hard game to call. But I think Oxygen win. I think if Kino's on fire and he's doing what he should be able to do, I think they take this quite comfortably. But if some people on Oxygen aren't really performing, I think Empire might run away with the game. But overall, I think the Oxygen look a little bit more consistent, and I feel more comfortable saying that Oxygen will win this game. In the next game, we have BDS versus FaZe. I don't think this will be as close as the last one. I think BDS will win this fairly comfortably. But again, it depends who on BDS is playing well and who's underperforming. That takes us to the upper bracket finals, where we have Team Liquid versus TSM. And I think this is a really hard game to call again. I think all these games in the upper bracket are very close, but TSM versus Team Liquid is probably one of the hardest. TSM on a good day are probably one of the best teams in this game, if not the best. And Team Liquid, again, if they're on a good day, will probably win this whole tournament, but it depends who's having a good day and who's not. But unfortunately, I'm a bit of a Team Liquid stan, and I think Team Liquid win this, but I don't think it's a close game. And it's not because I think Bolo's trash or anything, it's because I think Team Liquid as a team look better and more consistent than TSM. And I think even if TSM roll in on an average day, they'd probably be an average TSM. So I think it's a TSM win 2-1, taking them to the grand finals. That takes us back down to the lower bracket in round 5, where we have Oxygen versus BDS. This is a semi-close game, and it depends which team's playing well, but I think consistency-wise, BDS look better. And whilst I have liked the new Oxygen with the addition of Kino and Yoga, and I've really liked the duo of Laxing and Foxay throughout the years, I think BDS just look like a better team, much more well-rounded. So I think they win this game, but it's a bit unfortunate because I would have liked Oxygen to make a bigger play, but unfortunately they didn't do as well in the group stages as I thought they would, so I'm having trouble saying they win this game. So for now, BDS win, and they move on to the lower bracket finals. We now have the lower bracket finals, where we have TSM and BDS, which is actually a rematch from my upper bracket semifinals, which I had TSM winning. So on paper, if I'm trying to be consistent, TSM should win straight into the grand finals. Here we go. However, BDS are an EU team, and I'm from EU, being from the UK. So I really want to see BDS win, and the only way I can justify this properly is saying that TSM will probably lose their momentum after losing the upper bracket finals, whereas BDS will have lost to TSM, won a game, and then have some momentum going into their match. So unfortunately, that's the only sort of justification I can give. It's not very good, but to be honest, these teams are on par with each other, and it's genuinely a coin flip in both their matchups. So I could see either of them making it to the grand final. I could see either of them winning the upper bracket semifinals. But I want to see BDS to the final, so I've put them to win. Don't fight me about it. It's got to be. I'm sorry. That takes us all the way to the grand final, a best of 5. However, Team Liquid will be up a match if they do make it through the upper bracket, like I have predicted, so they will only have to win 2 games, whereas BDS will have to win 3. The final match is infinite overtime, so we might get a repeat of the 2019 Six Invitational, which went to, I think, 24 rounds between G2 and Empire, which would be very fun to watch, however, not very fun to cast or play, I'm sure. But here we are, 2 teams, Team Liquid and BDS. Who do I think wins? Well, like I say, I put BDS here because I'm an EU fanboy, but I've supported Team Liquid ever since they beat G2 at the Atlantic City finals, so I just want to see Team Liquid win personally. I think they've had it a long time coming, and I think ever since Zig dropped off this roster, they have looked a little bit worse for wear, but I think they've come back with some fire, and I think if they do make it all the way through the upper brackets like I've predicted, they'll have a lot of momentum coming into this game, and only having to win 2 maps rather than the 3 that BDS have to win, I think is a huge advantage. So I think Team Liquid win the whole tournament. I don't think it'll be a very sort of close game. I think that Team Liquid will either come in and completely destroy BDS, or I think BDS will come in and then it will be a close game and BDS will take the win. So it will either be a blowout win by Team Liquid or a consistently sort of close game to BDS. But overall, I think Team Liquid win, and they are my finalists, and they are the champions of the 2021 Six Invitational, according to me. But looking back at my Group A predictions, maybe you shouldn't listen to me, but that's what I think. So tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me where I'm wrong, and then come back and laugh at me once all the tournament's been finished with, and tell me how wrong I am. Now you have the final results. But that's YouTube. So thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. And I'll catch you for the next one.